We're going to talk about Bitcoin today because it's the first of the, it's not the first digital currency, but it is the first that was decentralized. And that's important because up till today, that's not happened in money, period. So decentralized means that it's peer-to-peer. If I wanted to send money between you and me, the government can't put its hands on it. The bank can't put its hands on it and take money out if I just wanted to give you money. Okay. Now, that's awesome. It's the reason that this whole industry has boomed is because they have taken a step outside of the banking system. And Bitcoin, like I said, was not the first digital currency because if you think about it, you know, digital currency has started a long time ago. Our U.S. dollars, you know, you can transfer them online, right? You don't actually send, you know, money in an envelope, you know, to somewhere. It is already, digital currency has been dominating. I mean, 40 years ago, we had the credit card, and that started, you know, ones and zeros in a computer collecting, you know, data and moving digital currency. But basically, like I said, decentralized cryptocurrency is the biggest innovation since the internet, and they're calling Bitcoin the future, not just the future, but the internet of money, basically. So just the same way that the internet can connect us to anywhere in the world, Bitcoin can as well do the same thing. You can connect from this to another place in the world very quickly, very cheaply, and it's huge because it saves people a lot of money, and you can do so many different things with it.
Bitcoin, for those of you who don't know, is an electronic online currency that was created in 2009. It was made by someone who did it under the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto.
Because some people have said, hey, Bitcoin is the answer to those problems. Are you a believer?
Well, Bitcoin is exciting because it shows how cheap it can be. Bitcoin is better than currency in that you don't have to be physically in the same place. And, of course, for large transactions, currency can get pretty inconvenient.
And what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a currency on the internet.
I sent 100 euros worth of Bitcoin from here in Tokyo directly to you guys through this camera, through the network, through the TV, right into your home. If I had tried to do that, send you the money with a traditional bank, it would have taken several days and probably cost 30 euros. I just did it right now with Bitcoin instantly, basically for free, and didn't have to ask anybody for permission. I didn't need a bank, I didn't need a government, I didn't need anybody. I just needed myself and you and our smartphones to do it. That's the power of Bitcoin.
So what is money? One of the best ways that I've heard explained is that it's an agreed upon exchange of energy, right? Your employer pays you for your time and your energy spent for them. And so you take that currency that is energy in a, you know, a still form that you can spend that's, you know, potential energy to send it to something else, to pay for your electricity, pay for gas in your car. So I like the store of energy, you know, description of it. But basically, many things have been used as currency, as money. Gold, shells, animals, cattle. And I was talking to Jamie about this earlier this morning. Zimbabwe, have you guys heard that it's $1 million for 3 eggs in Zimbabwe? That's the cost of their money is devalued so badly that, you know, it takes millions of dollars and billions to buy things, okay? So they actually just approved goats as like legal tender. You can pay your kids' tuition in goats, okay? So because their money is so devalued, yeah, it's crazy. I have some friends that, you know, from Zimbabwe, and it was interesting. I was asking him about that, and he said, yep, you can pay in goats, which is just wild. But anyhow, a goat is worth about $30 if you're wondering. So, you know, if you have goats, you got $30 a goat in Zimbabwe. All right, so Jack Spirko is where I got the definition of the transfer of energy. And I want to explain a little bit about currency and what we understand as currency is the U.S. dollar, the difference between fiat currency. And basically is, Jack Spirko explained that the U.S. dollar is no longer a fiat currency. And actually, the best you could call it is a pseudo-fiat currency because fiat is issued directly by a government. Our U.S. government no longer issues dollars, right? The U.S. government issues bonds, and then the Federal Reserve actually is the one that issues the money, right? So it's not our government anymore that does that. So the Federal Reserve is only federal in name. You know, it's actually not it's just like this is federal ammo. It has nothing to do with our government. It's just the name of the company. So the Federal Reserve has nothing to do with our government. So our government no longer produces fiat currencies. But anyhow, again, this is the greenback. It's actually an example of a fiat currency. And in the Civil War, Lincoln, produced the greenback, which is our government actually said, this is legal tender. It's not backed by debt. This is backed by our government, right? So it's a little bit different, but the understanding is that our government no longer produces debt-free money. It produces money in debt. So the basic idea is you can never repay it. We will always be in debt, and the debt will always go up. So that's the way our system is designed, and that's one of the fatal flaws of the fiat currency system, okay? So now, one of the reasons actually that we had the the colonies revolt in the American Revolution was over money. They not only made their own system that was debt-free of currency, they wanted to pay their taxes to the British Empire, and the Brits basically said, no, you cannot pay us in your money, which is debt-free. They said you have to use our fiat currency system, which was debt-based, and pay us back. And why wouldn't the British, government want the colonies to have their own money? Because when you have enough of your own money, you don't need a boss anymore, right? You can leave the people that hold over you control, right? When you have enough money, if you get, $10 million from a dead uncle, I don't think you're going to be working in the same job anymore, right? You get to pick what you want to do because the money frees you up. And in this case, the American Revolution was started because of something similar. This is one of the reasons that they revolted. All right. So now, another way to explain money. This is Aristotle. Apparently, he was blind. They didn't ever give him eyeballs in his statues, so I don't know. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe they just don't know how to draw eyes on stone. But anyway, Aristotle said that sound form of money should be durable, portable, divisible, valuable, intrinsically valuable. And so beyond that, it's you also have to think about how scarce it is, and its fungibility. So you got your iPhone? I saw you with it earlier. Don't worry about it. That's okay. So if I took my dad has got an iPhone. If he pawned it, all right, and this is an exchange. This is a value. I took his phone and I pawned it. He pawned it and he said, okay, here's my money. I want my phone back. The exchange of value, that's, an iPhone 6. If I said, here's my iPhone 3G, it's an iPhone. You can have it. You're going to say, I don't want that. I want the value of the phone that I had, right? So these they're both phones, they're both cell phones, they're both iPhones, but they don't carry the same value. So fungibility is exchange in the same manner of value, one for the next, right? So if the same with the American dollar. If I give you an American dollar and you're giving me Zimbabwe $1 million, it's not the same value, right? It's not fungible. Those two currencies are not fungible. So basically, thanks, Dan. You want a currency to be fungible from $1 to the next. Our American dollar, solves this. It's $1 to the next. You don't really worry about whether one is more than another because they're just a single bill. You understand that they're valued the same. So the reasons gold and silver were used as standards before is because they were relatively scarce, right? You have to go into the soil, find it, and dig it out, and not only pull it out of the rocks and the dirt where it's at. You have to remove all the impurities from it to get that actual refined gold and silver. And so it made it harder to source and harder to manipulate. So scarcity addresses the question also as how easy is it to duplicate or to counterfeit. And so if tomorrow blades of grass became our currency, everybody would be like, yay, I'm rich, but it would only last for about 15 minutes and realize everybody has a lot of grass. There's no way to cap the market, and eventually the grass will become worthless again. And we have no money, right? So scarcity plays a role in what you need to take into consideration for a currency. So now, The other thing is how, okay, so how exchangeable is it? And that falls under the fungibility. It's one equal to another. So to make a fair comparison, cryptocurrency, we wouldn't talk about like gold versus cryptocurrency because it's not a value for value because we don't pay in gold every day, right? We don't take a silver bar out and say, I want McDonald's for this amount of silver bar, right? We use dollars. So the currency that, comparison I'm going to make is between fiat currency or pseudo fiat currency and cryptocurrency. But basically, the U.S. dollar is durable, right? It takes years for a dollar bill to be in circulation before it breaks down enough to where they say, okay, we got to get rid of this dollar and put a new dollar in its place because it's worn out. So it is durable. It is portable. It's light. You can fit a lot in your pocket, right? It's divisible. You can divide a dollar 100 times, right, into 100 pennies. And it also, what you have to consider is the value. Is it intrinsically value? Is the paper cotton blend that it is it valuable? Not really. We have other paper. I could tear a piece of cotton off of my shirt and try and give you money, but they're not really that valuable on their own. So it kind of fails that portion of the test. And are dollars scarce? No, they're not. The Federal Reserve continues to print them every day, until infinity. And they call it quantitative easing, right? And they're QE whatever, by now QE 10 and beyond. So they keep printing money, so it's not scarce. It's not intrinsically valuable. So it gets 4 out of 6 of the characteristics that money needs to be. So not a very good grade as far as, this again is the definition for fungibility. It is fungible, but it's not scarce. So that's why, okay, gold and silver. Oh, I'm missing a slide. That's okay. Basically, 4 out of 6, 66% grade for the American dollar. It's not, the best form of currency, but it's an agreed upon exchange of energy, so we use it, and it's accepted around the world, right? So basically, now that currency versus cryptocurrency is, I'm going to simplify it to Bitcoin because Bitcoin was the first decentralized cryptocurrency, it's not the first digital currency, but it is the first decentralized one. So again, the dollars were digital long before Bitcoin came around. 40 years ago, we had credit cards. We started exchanging ones and zeros, okay? But now, is Bitcoin durable? Let me do real quick here. Can you follow me here? I'm going to show you here real quick. You know what alphanumeric means? Letters and numbers together. And so here's an M. This is going to be a 0. Okay, there's a line through it. N, 3. This is going to be a 4, but that looks like money, right? But it's alphanumeric. There's a 0, a 3, and a 4, okay? Now, I can say this alphanumeric sequence, which Bitcoin is an alphanumeric sequence, I can say I'm going to destroy this and wipe it out. Now, I can say that I destroyed it because it's not there anymore, but can no one ever come back and use that same sequence? You can, so it's not really destroyed, it's not really gone, and in fact, this is only half of the sequence of Bitcoin. You also have the private key for it. So if this is erased, I still have the private key. I'm still able to use, it's a 2-factor authentication, I'm still able to use Bitcoin, and I can just, out of memory, I could, in this case, and some people do use mnemonic devices to transfer Bitcoin. You can actually just commit it to memory and, restore it and use it as value, okay? So it's one of the benefits of Bitcoin is that it's durable, right? It's hard to get rid of. Now, it's durable. It's portable because it's just the exact same thing as what a credit card does. And I'm kind of lost on my slides here. It's okay. There's Bitcoin. There's money. There's the value. That's why I'm way behind. Okay, so there's there we go. BitPay. This is a Satoshi Nakamoto is the inventor of Bitcoin. This is a credit card. You can use Bitcoin on a credit card. So just as many dollars, thousands of dollars you can carry a credit card for, you can carry the same with Bitcoin, all right? You can actually have a paper wallet and write down an address and spend just with a piece of paper. When you go to exchange a value, if someone accepts Bitcoin, you can write in the alphanumeric sequence with a piece of paper, okay? So it'd be similar to having your credit card information written on a piece of paper and, you know, doing the verifications by typing it in. All right, so it's portable and it's also divisible, right? The benefit of Bitcoin is, I'm gonna go back here to Coinbase. Oh, you can't see it there. Maybe it's further forward. Is look at these values. The decimal point goes to the 100 millionth place. So it's actually much more divisible than the American dollar. You can go way down in value. And so it's very divisible. And the same thing as far as scarcity. There's only ever going to be printed 21 million Bitcoin, okay? So it's not like the American dollar where there's no cap and you can just keep printing and keep devaluing the currency. In fact, because of the fact that you can keep printing money in the US dollar, it's an inflationary curve, right? The more you print, the less value that each one has. With Bitcoin, actually, the more that are mined, the more value comes out because there's a finite number. Because once you hit that 21 million, you can't ever get any more. So once you hit that value, each one keeps going up. So over time, there is a halving every 4 years as well. So it's just going to go up over time. Some people say, so it is scarce. Some people say that it doesn't have intrinsic value because they're saying, hey, it's just a software. It's just lines of code on a piece of paper or in a computer that doesn't really have value. But I can say the same thing about like a phone, right? If I built an iPhone before anybody understood what a phone was and said, this is awesome, and people were like, I don't care, it doesn't do anything, until I build a second one to where I can actually communicate between two places, right? And they realize, oh, it's a form of communication, right? You can do the same thing with Bitcoin. Now, if I built a lot of phones, if I made 21 million of them, distribute them around the world, then not only is it very valuable per one of them, but also the network that I've created of all of those communication devices is very valuable. There are also, the technology behind it is blockchain. You can store incredible amounts of information on the blockchain, and it's immutable. It doesn't ever go away because it's math. Once it goes into the equation, it can't come out because you can't put together the equation without all the numbers, the correct numbers in line before it, okay? So this gets very complicated as I'm explaining it, and I realized that when I was putting this lesson together because I was gonna do a whole lot more, but I just can't with the amount of time that I need to explain this. So basically, I believe it has intrinsic value, and not only can the network be used as a verifiable, audible, open source voting system, the country of Malta has also praised Bitcoin for the blockchain's ability to handle, store, process sensitive data in an immutable and decentralized ecosystem. If I had only, okay, so basically, if I were to compare Bitcoin to other currencies, and as far as like in a version of communication, we're talking about cell phones, right? It'd be the difference in the US dollar that you would have to actually put in snail mail to get from here and take whatever amount of days it takes to get to the other place. You also have to pay for that transaction. And the stamp fee would be very expensive versus a cell phone that can be instant, you know, or within minutes you get the data you want from one place to another very cheap, okay? So Bitcoin is light years ahead of other currencies that the world uses right now. All right. Now, I got another video with, okay, these are, yeah, this is it. This is a video, all right.
What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is the first decentralized digital currency. Bitcoins are digital coins you can send through the internet. Compared to other alternatives, Bitcoins have a number of advantages. Bitcoins are transferred directly from person to person via the net, without going through a bank or clearinghouse. This means that the fees are much lower. You can use them in every country. Your account cannot be frozen, and there are no prerequisites or arbitrary limits. Let's look at how it works. Several currency exchanges exist where you can buy and sell Bitcoins for dollars, euros, and more. Your Bitcoins are kept in your digital wallet on your computer or mobile device. Sending Bitcoins is as simple as sending an email, and you can purchase anything with Bitcoin. The Bitcoin network is secured by individuals called miners. Miners are rewarded newly generated Bitcoins for verifying transactions. After transactions are verified, they are recorded in a transparent public ledger. Bitcoin opens up a whole new platform for innovation. The software is completely open source and anyone can review the code. Bitcoin is changing finance the same way the web changed publishing. When everyone has access to a global market, great ideas flourish. Bitcoins are a great way for businesses to minimize transaction fees. It doesn't cost anything to start accepting them, and it's easy to set up. There are no chargebacks, and you'll get additional business from the Bitcoin economy.
So again, Bitcoin is light years ahead of the competition with fiat currencies and that governments use today. I mentioned Malta earlier. They're adopting the blockchain technology and promoting Bitcoin because they see it's the future, and they want to be the Silicon Valley of countries. So Japan also accepts it as a currency. I believe Switzerland as well is taking it to pay bills for the civic light bills and water bills. They're also taking it as currency. So really some awesome advantages to Bitcoin. But its origins, I'm going to read here. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency and an electronic payment system invented by an unidentified programmer or group of programmers under the name Satoshi Nakamoto. Nakamoto introduced Bitcoin in 2008 to a cryptographer's mailing list, and here they released the open source software in 2009. So there has been someone that's come forward. I don't know if he's come forward. There is someone that fits the description of who Satoshi Nakamura is. Nakamoto. And people try and point to him and say, this is the guy that created it. I understand the need for anonymity. If I created something that would challenge governments and the biggest bank in the world, I wouldn't want to attach my name to it because likely there would be threats on my life and or long-term imprisonment, okay? So I understand his need for anonymity, and he put it out there. He set up the code and started making transfers with it. Now, Bitcoin started at that's why there's a question mark here, is because they have no 100% proof of who the actual guy is. This is hard to see, but basically here's January 2009. No exchange of money for Bitcoin yet. May 2010, it's less than a penny. It's hard to see here, but it says this guy, Laszlo Hanyek, made the first real world transaction by buying 2 pizzas in Jacksonville, Florida for 10,000 Bitcoin. Yeah, so if Bitcoin, let's see, if pizzas are 20 or 30 bucks for 2 of them, that would mean that Bitcoin would have been worth, on the first transaction, 0.002 cents. So not even a penny, maybe about a quarter of a penny, okay? So that was the first transaction. And then it went up to 0.08 cents in July of 2010, and it's been climbing ever since. This says April 2017 is $1,210 right now. Let me take a look. Thank you. 1346 today, live time, that you can exchange 1 Bitcoin versus the 1 American dollar, okay? So its value continues to rise, which is incredible. The death of Bitcoin has been proclaimed numerous times. One journalist has recorded 29 such obituaries as of early 2015. And if you look through here, you have spikes and dips, just like every other currency on the market. These are more extreme because this is the first of its kind. So there are people still trying to understand it and understand its value. Obviously, if you paid somebody 10,000 Bitcoins in your first transaction versus what it is worth today, that money would make you sick, That's enough for you and your children's children to retire on. But anyway, now, one journalist recorded 29 such obituaries as of early 2015. Various journalists, economists, and Central Bank of Estonia have voiced concerns that Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme. In 2014, reports by both World Bank and Swiss Federal Council examined the concerns and came to the conclusion that Bitcoin is not a Ponzi scheme. That's the World Bank and the Swiss Federal Council has determined that Bitcoin, again, is not a Ponzi scheme. It is very difficult to control Bitcoin. It was developed that way, peer-to-peer, computer user to computer user, for a reason, so that it'd be very hard for one individual or one group to take control of it. And the same with their voting system between the computers. So very smart, way to set up something that is so valuable. Now, the buying and holding of Bitcoin has made me enough money to buy an ounce of gold and a few ounces of silver, which is, it blows my mind. If the first Bitcoin I bought was in 2015, it was $248, and that was one of its lows, and it's, like I said, it's 1,300, what was it, 1,360? 46, okay, 1,346. So you can buy more than an ounce of gold with it today. If I just held on to that one, I could have went and, gotten change back for buying an ounce of gold, which is pretty huge. It's a mental, target that people have had for a long time. And so it's very valuable. And actually, it was the gateway to me getting into cryptocurrencies and understanding, hey, I can make money just by buying and holding on to these because they keep going up. You don't have to be an economist to understand if I buy something cheap, it goes up in value, I can make money on that, right? So since then, at the beginning of the year, I started trading cryptocurrencies, and I've made thousands of dollars. It's right around $10,000 that I've made since the beginning, actually February 2nd. So it's really, really an incredible, not only currency, but it's an incredible way to look at a system that we have today and how to empower people instead of giving our money to a government that's going to tax you, a Federal Reserve that's going to devalue your money. And again, once you don't need once you have enough of your own money, you don't need that boss. You realize, I don't need that anymore. And I'm not saying don't pay your taxes. This is completely legitimate. And there are tax guidance on how to record your value, just like there is with gold and silver. It is a store of value, so you do have to report it. But I have made a significant amount of money. I was able to buy gold and silver with it, and these are two deposits here that I made from the cryptocurrencies that I bought and sold. That's real money, $3,400 and $5,200. This is gains that I've made from cryptocurrency, and I encourage you guys to continue researching. And this is my whole purpose. If I do this on my own, I have a very finite amount of time and resources to research every cryptocurrency that I'm getting into. If I explain this to you guys see value in it, you do your own research, then you can tell me what you find, I can tell you what I find, and then we can make smarter choices about the next cryptocurrencies that I try and buy and sell. And now there's a lot of questions that come up with, where can you get this, and when should you buy? Is it still profitable? This is Coinbase is one of the places that I use to get my cryptocurrency, and it's easy for you guys to set up. I can send you a link that if you buy $100 worth, I get $10, or you can just go to Coinbase.com, put the app on your phone, put a credit card in, and buy it. And in fact, in Houston, there are Bitcoin ATM machines where you can just put money in, and they give you a Bitcoin, address that you have, and you now own Bitcoin. So that's pretty much it for the presentation. What I wanted to do now is open it up for some questions to you guys.